But we're going to close out this week's show talking about TNA, right? And we've kind of talked about it for many months, right? There's, again, rumors they were going to get a new deal. And how about this? 1 year after Monday Night Raw moves over to Netflix, TNA is moving to AMC. And a lot of people are saying this is like a completely new beginning. And I think it's a new chapter. It's not a new book. I've heard that phrase used around. It's not a new book. It's a new chapter. But I guess my question is does this really, to wrestling fans, right, do you feel that, like, I guess, what is the excitement about them being on AMC other than it's a big network, it's a bigger network.
It's a huge network compared to Access because it's in like so many more homes and like the availability is way better than what they were before. And they probably, and I mean, I don't know if the terms were disclosed unless you know the terms, but I did hear it was a multi-year deal, which it goes in effect January 15th of this coming year. So we're what, 6 weeks out, give or take from that. And it's a lot. So it's a decent length of a deal, multi-year. I don't think the financials were there, but TNA came out and said they're going to do 52 weeks of episodes. So I'm wondering how much it's going to be. I wonder if we'll get those details. But I think overall, I think it's a great move for them because I believe AMC, if I'm not mistaken, is owned by my quote unquote. I'll just kind of say it like, my favorite owner, not really, of the New York Knicks, James Dolan. I believe he's the owner of AMC.
He might, you could be right. I know he obviously owns MSG and things like that.
Like everything.
So I guess my thing is, what are we expecting? I know that first show is going to be great. It's going to be like Netflix last year, right? The TNA version.
Good. They're already trending in the right direction. Anyways, here's the thing. The reason why I'm very optimistic about TNA is James. Assuming that James Dolan is, he's the guy behind AMC and who they had to make a deal with. He's not going to buy in and sign a multi-year contract with TNA if he didn't like what they were doing and what the future holds. So to me, if you get the stamp of approval from a guy like that, or even if it's not James Dolan, I think it is, but either way, AMC, if they're saying, yeah, we're happy to sign you a multi-year deal, that tells me they've liked what they've seen lately and they're excited for the future.
Do you think they need to be live every single week? I don't think they're going to be. They're going to kind of maybe do what they've been doing lately, live here and there. Do you think they need to be live every single week, or does that not matter?
I think it would be better. They'd be better served to do it live every week because of the way of the world with social media. Everybody that goes to these events, if it's not live on TV, there's no reason to watch it if it's all spoiled online anyways. So like, I feel like they're going to have to figure out a way to make it work for 52 weeks. I don't know if they're going to do what AEW in a sense did, where they have like a monthly residency in a certain venue, something like that. That could work. Where they and then the TNA talent stays kind of in the area for a month or whatever, or comes in, does the taping, and goes home. Like there's ways you can do it. That would be probably I think that would be the best way to do it. Where take a page out of AEW's book. I'll give Tony Khan credit there. Where like you do like a residency for like a month or so, and then then you move on to another month residency.
Well, they kind of do that a little bit now, but just difference is they just tape all the shows in like one night. Like they go to like here and then they just tape a month's worth.
Exactly. But if they're going to work it out where it's live, I think they have to have a monthly residency in a maybe even like in a Las Vegas or something like that, where like people. You might get a different audience every week.
It's crazy how wrestling is kind of a little more sleeker, I guess you would say, because, at the early part of the century, TNA was on Spike TV, and Spike TV was the wrestling network, right? It had the Man Show and other jackasses and just kind of like those kind of grungy like shows that like I think Maxim magazine had a television show like hottest supermodels and like all these things that would appeal to WWE being there, appeal to TNA being there. So they were like on all these kind of like action men's networks. And now like AMC is a very classy network and WWE is on Netflix, which overall I think is like a wide variety, but it's, it's again, not just like the end of the day. It's not like MTV or Comedy Central. It's like more sleeker. And like even like AEW, the networks they're like on the movie networks, but again, there's nothing too wild and racy and X-rated on those networks. They're not trying to be like the men's network, which Spike TV for so long was trying to be, right? So like it's on AMC, which I think might be, if I'm not mistaken, like the most classy network that a wrestling show has ever been on, right? AMC used to have like Inside the Actor Studio. It's got Mad Men. It has like those kind of more subtle dramas. Yes, it's got a lot of movies, but it's not one of those shows, those channels you turn on and it's just like loud and blaring at you, right? This is going to be the only program that will, in the sense of pro wrestling on AMC. Other than that, it's like Downton Abbey, and like British dramas. So I'm very curious to see how TNA fits on AMC. Just very curious. I hope, I hope more live programming. I just wonder,
it would do them good.
As you say, right? You say that like, they liked what they see. So I guess my question is it going to be status quo and continuing? Or is it going to be bigger because they've got more money coming in from the television network itself? I think that's where where we really need to see if they're going to take the money they get for being on a bigger TV network and put it in to, I guess, production and things like that. We'll find out.
That's why I think a residency would be good, because if you do a monthly residency, you can keep all the equipment right there. You don't have to put it in the trucks and go all over the country. So if you have like almost like the old soundstage in WCW days, like you have an area where like you have a residencies there. That's going to save you money right there, and you could pay your talent more as well, which obviously is appealing to the talent. So I think that could be something that could be a model they might do. Honestly, I think that would be something smart to do. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I
know we'll have a big blow-off show. I know the 1st on the 15th will be a big show, probably. I'm hoping maybe Mike Santana gets his championship back, and then you can kind of advertise that this is our guy going forward. This is the champion.
I think it'd be good. I think they're obviously they're gonna come out balls to the wall. That first show, but I'm excited to see what the future holds for after the initial
that is what it's all about, right? Because obviously on WWE Netflix, you talk about all those people who tuned in to WWE for the first time ever, and then you're like, well, how did you follow it up for the remainder of the year? Now Raw, to be honest with you, I like it better than it was when it was on TV because it's shorter and we have that more of a dramatic ending. But as for the actual product, I mean, it doesn't look different than when it was on the USA Network or television.
It's just WWE.
It's just WWE. Yeah, there you go.